Okay, this is take two. Let's see how it goes this time. Okay, let's see. If anyone's in here yet. Okay, we're back. Let's see if we can get this show back on the road. I'm still waiting. I'm still saving for this be careful who you offend on Halloween thing. But I did bring something a little better. This is my mom's copy of The Catalyst. Oh boy. This is my mom's copy of The Catalyst for this month. It is 15 pages long. Oh, here's some further stuff on the debate in here. Biden said the former vice president had, as a U.S. senator, supported various restrictions on abortion funding and even expressed reservations about Roe v. Wade. But Biden has now fully abandoned any pretense of moderation. As recently as June, he revoked his long-held support for the Hyde Amendment, which restricts federal funding for abortions, which is decent. In 1996, he voted for DOMA, but in 2012, he reversed his position and endorsed marriage. In 2016, he officiated a gay wedding. Biden also supports the Equality Act. It is the most comprehensive assault on religious liberty, the right to life, and privacy rights ever packaged into one bill. The U.S. bishops have opposed it as an assault on religious liberty and the right to life, yet Biden promises that it will be his top legislative priority. So, this is, fine. It's totally normal that saying that supporting something called the Equality Act is an assault on religious liberties. what they say about Julian Castro, while saying the Catholic faith has never been far from my life. He supports unrestricted abortion. He vigorously opposed a Texas law banning abortion after 20 weeks. He even proclaimed that trans females should have access to abortion, even though a trans female is actually a biological male who cannot get pregnant. Listen, I think that he meant to say trans men, and I'm glad that he recognized the importance of reproductive rights for trans people. Got a little confused, but he got the spirit. Castro has long supported gay marriage. He says that I separate any one faith or belief system from the responsibility that one has in public service. This is just making me like the Democrats. Jesus. And Delaney, I don't even know who this guy is, touts his Catholicism, yet he supports the entire pro-abortion agenda, including taxpayer funding for abortions. He also supports forcing Catholic nonprofits to pay for abortion-inducing drugs in their health care plans. He wants to repeal the Hyde Amendment and the Mexico City policy, which blocks federal funds from promoting abortion overseas. Most astonishingly, he voted against the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act. Not surprisingly, he supports gay marriage along with other deviation from Christian teachings. Gillibrand has since dropped out. Gillibrand vowed to prevent restrictions and stuff, but it doesn't matter. They just had an absolutely normal one about Beto. From former Congressman Beto, a lifelong Republican, a lifelong Catholic, has a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood in Narral. But he's from Texas, so that doesn't mean much. While in Congress, he voted against a resolution to ban abortion after 20 weeks, urged President Obama to fund abortions in foreign countries through American foreign aid, and voted against a bill which would reinstate the federal ban on taxpayer dollars used for abortions. During the presidential campaign, a questioner asked O'Rourke on abortion, do you say it's a woman's right to choose? Does that include up to the third trimester? And he said absolutely. O'Rourke supports gay marriage as well as the Equality Act, saying we cannot allow religious freedom to be used as a guise for discrimination. This just makes me like the liberals. I don't want to like the liberals. Okay. Here we go. Why the spike in youth suicide? Catholic League President Bill Donahue comments on the rise in youth suicide. This is going to be great. The CDC reports that young people from 10 to 17 experienced a 56% rise in suicide between 2007 and 2017. Suicide is the second leading cause for death in young people behind accidental injuries like drugs and car accidents. Experts are good at providing data, but are not so good at understanding why this is happening. Adolescents are not unaccustomed to bouts of depression. Oh, another one of those mental health is fake people. And they are certainly not alone in expressing stress, so let's not put too much stock in these theories. Access to firearms is hardly new, and if anything, it was easier in times past. Something else must be going on. Suicide in the U.S., especially among young people, is largely a function of feeling isolated or of lacking the kind of connectivity that is necessary for mental health. Some experts have fingered the role that social media plays in contributing to the phenomenon. They're right to do so. Oh, great, another my computers guy. Of course. Suicide in the U.S., especially among young people, is largely a function of feeling isolated or lacking the kind of connectivity that is necessary for mental health. Some experts have, after scrolling through Instagram feeds, admits a distraught Colorado high school girl, I just feel worse about myself because I felt left out. Her sentiment is not uncommon among heavy social media users. 2 years ago, Clinical Psychological Science, a peer-reviewed journal, found that teens who spend at least 5 hours on their electronic devices are 75% more likely to have suicidal thoughts or actions than those who use these devices for about an hour each day. This is nothing new. A major study on the relationship between social media and suicide rates was published in 2012 in the American Journal of Public Health. It reported a large increase in pro-suicide websites that are available. The internet, it said, provides a way for people to obtain how-to descriptions of suicide, as well as lethal means to kill themselves. Message boards, video sharing websites, and chat rooms are commonly accessed, and some evidence is growing that social media can influence pro-suicide behavior. There is one segment of the adolescent population that is experiencing a high rate of suicide. It's the transgender youth, and the conventionalism that discrimination accounts for the problem is without foundation. Oh yeah, I'm sure that bullying people ruthlessly until they attempt or commit suicide, that doesn't have anything to do with it. It must be the dysphoria. Just the dysphoria alone. And not the living hell that your life becomes. In the 2018 issue of Pediatrics, the Journal of American Academy of Pediatrics published an article, The Transgender Adolescent Suicide Behavior, that was the first large-scale study on the subject. It found between 30% and 50% of transgender adolescents reported engaging in lifetime suicide behavior. Females who, I'm not even going to say it, trans men had the highest rate. The researchers had little to say about what it was driving these outcomes, but if discrimination was a factor, then we should expect that non-white trans adolescents have a higher rate of suicide behavior than whites. Yeah, they do. This is not the case. They found that transgender youth of color were not at a higher risk compared with white trans adolescents. So much for the intersectionality between the theories of oppression. Were it not for political correctness and the study in pediatrics evidences plenty of it, some hard questions would be raised. Is it really the way transgender adolescents are treated that accounts for their suicidal behavior? Or is it their... God damn it! Or is it their pre-existing medical condition that explains their problem? And not the very process of transitioning itself that is a matter of psychological distress? Our young people deserve better. Oh my God! Oh Christ! Social media, especially among heavy users, is contributing to social isolation. All of us need what sociologists call face-to-face relationships. They are the only authentic ones. Technology can make it easier to discourse, but it cannot provide the glue that constitutes primary relationships. That is the stuff of bonding, and that takes work. Similarly, the lack of strong social bonds among transgender adolescents who are their friends helps to promote their condition. We all need a stable and loving environment, one that allows us to mature normally. If this means anything, it means accessing help for those in need. To be precise, it doesn't help the sexually confused to reinforce their disorders with misguided empathy for their condition. Progress will not be made until we have the courage to tell the truth, regrettably. The cardinal of fortitude is in short supply. The cardinal virtue of fortitude is in short supply, and nowhere is this more evident than in elite circles. He just said that the internet makes people transgenders and that makes them kill themselves because they're already mentally ill. Oh my God, this was the only one that I hadn't read, and it is absolutely awful. Oh my God, what is wrong with this man? Yikes. Okay. David Spade attacks gays. Catholic League President Bill Donahue comments on a remark made last night in Comedy Central by David Spade. This is what passes as a joke on Comedy Central. The Vatican has launched $110 e-rosary beads. This is going to be a trigger warning for victims of sexual child abuse. Sounds like a lot of money to get molested online. That is a bad joke, and jokes about and rape jokes about Catholic kids are really bad and unoriginal, but David Spade's comment cannot be read as anything other than an attack on homosexual priests. Now, this is why I wanted to talk about this one, because the Catholic League and a bunch of other websites have been trying to paint the whole situation about pedophilic Catholic priests as gay because their victims were altar boys mostly. So they, instead of saying that they were pedophiles, they don't say that they were pedophiles because they do the libertarian thing where they're like, well, technically they were post-pubescent, so it's not pedophilia, it's homosexuality. Thus, he did evidence his anti-Catholic and anti-gay bigotry, which unfortunately makes him a perfect fit at Comedy Central. And Comedy Central's not really that funny, but it's just really, really bad choice making on these people. And finally, we're going to talk about the mandatory Halloween outrage thing. Get your drinks ready because this one's a doozy. Catholic League President Bill Donahue comments on Halloween costumes that are a no-no. It's hard to keep up with the ethics of political correctness, and that's because there are no principles involved, just ideological preferences. For example, consider the reaction to Halloween costumes. Halloween has become more politically correct each year, but this year it has reached new heights. We have traditional media outlets giving advice on whom not to offend. When choosing an outfit this Halloween, do not choose anything that might offend Asians, Black people, Native Americans, Jews, Mexicans, or trans people. Well, don't do a racist caricature. I thought that was, just human decency. Who says this? Good Housekeeping and Reader's Digest. Moana costumes are not cool, so says Good Housekeeping and Reader's Digest. In fact, female students at the University of Notre Dame warn against wearing almost any Disney character garb, not just those that promote cultural stereotypes of Hawaiians or Asians in general. Anything involving blackface is considered taboo by Good Housekeeping. Oh no, I can't do blackface. And Reader's Digest objects to disco diva outfits and costumes featuring dreadlocks and afro wigs. Reader's Digest cites the costume advisory boards at Wesleyan and Yale. Yes, they have such enterprises on the inappropriateness of wearing feathered headdresses war bonnets that allegedly offend Native Americans. Good Housekeeping says it's offensive to dress as a Holocaust victim. Reader's Digest objects to Anne Frank costumes. I think that kind of makes sense. Sombreros are out. They might tick off Mexicans. Reader's Digest cites St. Thomas University in Minnesota as the authoritative source. Yeah. Trans clothes are verboten, or at least according to Good Housekeeping. I mean, it's fine to dress in drag. I'm not saying that word, granny, was pulled from Walmart, so good luck trying to find that one. Okay, so you're wondering, what does any of this have to do with the Catholic League? Not considered offensive, intolerant, insensitive, or bigoted are costumes depicting nuns as tramps. So no sexy nun costumes. That's as bad as blackface. And so is priests sporting an erection. Neither Good Housekeeping or Reader's Digest mentioned them, and neither did the universities. Maybe because slutty nun and priest with an erection aren't blackface? It's not clear whether a slutty nun wearing an afro wig or an aroused trans priest would make the cut. We would have to check with the costume advisory boards on campus or with the sages at Good Housekeeping and Reader's Digest. This doesn't even make sense because the Catholic Church is such an asshole about the whole, women becoming priests thing, so, oh my god. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that they are okay with these outfits. We would then have to ask if they would tolerate a black-faced slutty nun with an afro or a horny trans priest wearing a sombrero. This can get complicated. If there were principles involved in making such determinations, we wouldn't have to ask. There are. You just want to do blackface. What is wrong with these people? So, I thought that it's kind of fun to be... this is just kind of a catharsis for me because these people kind of on the low ruined my childhood because my mom would read them so religiously that she took everything that Bill Donahue and his people said as such gospel truth that I couldn't do anything fun as a kid. I would never be able to trick or treat or dress up for Halloween or watch Harry Potter or read Harry Potter or read a lot of popular books because they were too real witchcraft or too anti-Catholic. I wasn't allowed to watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I wasn't allowed to watch pretty much any Disney property made after Pocahontas at all because apparently Miramax had some anti-Catholic film in the works. The whole thing is just really bad, and I do kind of want to make this regular thing where I just roast these people because they're kind of all awful. Anyway, I'm sorry about the issues. And I guess I'll see everybody next time that I stream. Unidos is happening tonight, so check out Camazotz and that stream. That's probably what I'm going to be doing while I do my research for my thesis. Also, I kind of want to do a stream where I teach people about how to use Earth Explorer, so let me know if anybody wants me to do that. Other than that, that's pretty much all I had, and I'll see you later.